Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing the Count Your Blessings book tag that Anne at In Search of Wonder created this past Thanksgiving, and then Taylor at Tales and Treats with Tay, she tagged me in her video. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm going to do the tag. There's only 6 questions, so it shouldn't be very long. But from what I've seen on other people's videos, these questions can produce some conversation, shall we say. So we'll see how long the video goes. So question number 1, count them one by one. Go ahead and try to count them. So she is challenging us to count our books. I am not going to count one by one. I apologize for breaking the rules. But I will go onto my Goodreads because I have an owned shelf. And every time I bring in new books, I scan them into Goodreads so that I know when I'm out shopping, oh, do I have this book? Check my Goodreads. And that's how I know. And I am fairly diligent with actually scanning books in, and then subsequently if I unhaul books, I'm fairly good with taking them off that shelf if I no longer own them. There have been some times where I've forgotten, but you know, for the most part they'll balance each other out. The only discrepancy will be where children's picture books, I don't have that. I have some, but I don't have all of them on my Goodreads, as well as books that I have multiple copies of. I don't, I just have the one book, right? Because I don't think on Goodreads, I don't think you can actually shelf the same book in a different edition and have it count as 2 different books. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can do that on Goodreads. Anyway, my Goodreads says I have 1,378 books. And from watching Taylor's video, she said that apparently if you have 1,000 books or more, you got library status. I don't know where that came from, where that concept came from, but I like it. So I guess I have a home library, which I'm pretty excited about. Question 2, life-changing books. What are some books that changed you or profoundly impacted you in a positive way? Well, this is my favorite shelf. We're going to assume, as I am a believer, that the Bible is the most impactful book that I have ever and will ever and has ever been written book. So, the Bible. But we're going to add on to that list. So, impactful books. See, okay. I don't think I'm a very good reader that way. I don't know if I really ingest, especially fiction. I don't know that I really that it changes me. Oh, I don't know how to, I don't know. What can I say? I mean, The Hobbit has influenced my life in that now I'm a complete Tolkien fan and watch the movies every year and, you know, want to collect all the things and learn about all the things regarding Middle Earth, you know. So it changed an aspect of my personality. So I don't know, there's that. Fox was the first Christian fantasy book that I read that really showed me a unique way of including God in a fictional fantastical story. I don't know if that really makes sense. So I mean, that is very cool and it influenced going forward, but I mean, today when I reread it, I don't find it impacts me as much as it did the first time, because it was one of the first Christian fantasy books I'd ever read. Does that make sense? I don't know. The Screw Tape Letters, though it is fiction and it is a human's perspective of something they don't know firsthand, it did give me like some insight into what could be going on in the spirit world from the enemy's perspective. I don't know. I feel like I'm just telling you books that I loved. Like, I don't know if it really like changed me. You know what I mean? I could go through my favorite Christian nonfiction books and just gush over all of them for different reasons. I will say that Anything and When God Doesn't Fix It were two books that I read when I was in some of my darkest times in my life. And they really, I wouldn't say that they brought me out of my dark times or anything, but they felt like a friend I could walk with through those times. And then Unoffendable by Brent Hansen. I feel like I recommend this book to everybody. I feel like recommending, like when people say what's a book you could recommend to everybody, I have a hard time with that question. But if I had to pick, it might be this book. Yes. Coming from somebody who's very sensitive and has a natural inclination to feel offended, this is just a really great book, and I need to reread it, like maybe today, because, you know, life. But it was a really good book on your perception of the world, and I don't know how to describe it, but this one I would say definitely changed my outlook on the concept of offense. So, question number 3, special editions. What are some editions, copies that you really love? First edition, special editions, cloth, hardback, leather-bound, signed, or is there a book that is very valuable to you for sentimental reasons? So there's lots of different options there. I have so many Hobbit books, but I would say that this one, it's just gorgeous. I would like to find, I do have some vintage copies of The Hobbit, but I would like to find like older ones, like more of the first, second, third editions, you know, those would be like really hard to find, but that's would be goals, right? But I just love this edition. It's just so gorgeous and illustrated, and yeah. The next time I read The Hobbit, I should totally read this edition. That would be a ride. I'm going to try and find a good illustration here for you. It's going to take me a hot minute to get over, but I always forget my favorite book has my least favorite creatures in it. Oh my goodness, my heart's beating. There's an illustration. Okay. Maybe I will hesitate on actually going through this book because of the pictures. Anywho, let's go on. This is another one that I really love. It's Pride and Prejudice, and it's this super, super old, you guys won't even be able to tell from there. Somebody has written in it because it was, I don't know why. I can't even tell what it says. But it is published in 1908. That is so crazy old. And it was just fluke and happenstance that I came across this book and got it for like pretty much nothing. But that's really treasured. And I just have so many books that I love. But those are two of like special editions. Well, no, we're gonna go with this one too. This one. This is really special to me. This is The Assassin's Apprentice in this beautiful edition. I don't think there's illustrations. No. They've got like little, like, I don't know, little notes at the beginning of the chapter. I haven't read this edition yet, but I do need to reread this series. Anyway, so this is the kind of book that you usually get. This is the cover that I like. I don't like this cover. I'll show you here. I don't like these editions. I don't like them. So I like these ones, but these are like collectibles. So it is illustrated. It says illustrated edition, so there must be illustrations somewhere. Oh, that's beautiful. That's gorgeous. Okay. Yes, I should definitely go through this book when I reread this series. Anyway, that was the long way to show you 3 of my most special editions. Question number 4, gifted books. Books you love that others have gifted to you. So many of my BookTube friends. You guys are beautiful people and you've been very generous, and I have so many. I mean, that Assassin's Apprentice was gifted by a BookTube friend. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want other people to feel left out or sad. So I really appreciate that and I loved it. Also, this is a special edition. And it is from one of my book friends, and I love this so much. This is also illustrated, and I also want to read this edition the next time I read this book. So, Hind's Feet on High Places. Just gorgeous. So gorgeous. Okay, so those are 2 books that have been gifted to me. Question 5, the blessing of a book. How has reading benefited you in your life emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Okay, so where question number 2 is asking about specifics of specific books, question 5 is asking just generally the act of reading. Emotionally, I've been able to find support through some difficult things through reading. Mentally, I find that when I am in a stressful state, especially audiobooks have a great way of just distracting me from my stress. Does that make sense? Spiritually, if only, really only through Christian nonfiction do I find that it feeds me spiritually. And that can only really be done in tandem with the Bible. Like I would never, ever recommend you replace Christian nonfiction with the Bible. So it is only supplementary to the Bible. But in saying that, reading the Bible spiritually, like that is the Word of God. So, yeah. I guess that's my answer for 5. And for 6, friends, the greatest blessing. Do you have in real life, real life friends that love to talk books with you? Give them a shout out and then tag your favorite BookTube channels. Do I have real life friends that I can talk to about books? Chantel here on BookTube is my in real life friend. We've been friends since we were little girls. So we do talk books. Every time we hang out, I think pretty much every time we hang out, books comes up at some point. So yeah, she is one. I do have a couple of friends that I don't see too often, but when we do see each other, books come up. So there is that. My mom has been trying to get back into reading, so once in a while we have a book we can talk about. I do have a sister and a couple nieces who read not always the same stuff that I read, but I mean, who does? Who reads everything that you read? Like, who has 100% your taste, right? So, yeah, I mean, there are a few, but I think my bookish personality is fed through BookTube and Bookstagram. I think my book loving personality trait would kind of probably die off if I didn't have this outlet, I feel like. I don't know. Because my husband is definitely not a reader. And now I'm supposed to name some of my favorite Christian BookTube channels, but this tag was going around like more than 6 months ago and throughout the past 6 months, so I feel like anyone who's done it or who wanted to do it has already done it. If that's not the case and you have a channel and you have not been tagged, consider this my tag to you. Do the tag. It's fun. It asks some different questions. I had a good time answering these questions, so thank you, Anne, for creating the tag. Thank you, Taylor, for tagging me, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye!